Hello, everybody. My name is Garrett Sims. Welcome back to the podcast. It's Tuesday, March 1st. We got a... Oh, see, I messed up. See, look at this. We're already messing up here. It's March 2nd. It's Tuesday, March 2nd. Apparently, I don't want to get off the 1st. Beautiful day outside. I actually got a special guest with me today, Mason Hink. He's with me today, and we're going to be doing some free agent predictions. How are you, buddy? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, honestly.
That's always great to hear. You actually texted me today and said I had some ideas, and I said you want on the show. You said yeah, so here we are, I'm very thankful that you're here. And I'll let you describe a little bit what we're going to be doing today because this was your idea.
To be honest, it's literally ever since J.J. Watt signed, everybody wants to know when free agency is getting ready to open here in about a week. I think on the 12th.
Yeah.
14th is when it opens. Somewhere one of those days. Honestly, we're just gonna see where we think. See if you like that landing spot.
Yeah.
See if you like that landing spot, and we'll go from there.
Yep. So go ahead and let's start it off with your first guy that you have on your list. We'll go through your list. You say where you think they're gonna go.
I'm just gonna go by position.
Okay.
I have it listed on here.
Yeah.
So, first quarterback that popped up on my screen, it was the one that I'm only doing main people, not doing like third stringers and second strings.
Not like Dwayne Haskins.
Bigger name players. So, it's RG3.
Yeah.
I think he's still a usable quarterback in this league, but I think in the right system, and I got him going to Kansas City to back up Pat.
Ooh. Interesting.
He fits the mold. Like, you saw what Chad Henne did in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I don't want that to happen again. And then I have Mitch Trubisky. I have him staying in Chicago. But he's not the only quarterback I have going to Chicago. I have them bringing in Andy Dalton to challenge him and Nick Foles as well.
Now I could see that. Now, my problem with where it falls is I could agree with them bringing in somebody like Andy Dalton because Andy Dalton's very serviceable. I think he's still a starter in this league, and he proved that with Dallas. I don't know where Trubisky's going to go. I think that's a possible landing spot. If you look at all the quarterback situations, there's not nobody jumping head over heels for Trubisky, so I do kind of agree with you of him going back to the Bears. But
it was between him and the 49ers, and I would like to see what Kyle Shanahan could do with him. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I think he stays in Chicago for at least a year.
Yeah, I could see.
Take his value better.
On like a very minimal deal.
I got Tyrod Taylor. I got him going to Miami.
Miami.
They're very uncertain about Tua.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. I still think Tua is a good quarterback. He was in that Cam Newton thing where he only really had one or two weapons. Mind you, he had more weapons than Cam. Cam was throwing to like nobody.
Well, that's what I said about Tua at the beginning. I said, listen, his number one wide receiver was Devontae Parker, and I said he was injured half the season. He doesn't have a number one running back, and really the only weapon you could even argue that he had is Mike Gesicki. So I mean, I could see that working. Maybe fit to have the leadership role that Ryan Fitzpatrick was, but also having somebody that's more suited to Tua's abilities. So I agree with that.
Yeah. And Tyrod is still, he fits the same ability frame. Like, Anthony Lynn came out and wanted Tyrod to start over Herbert. So it functioned as one.
And sometimes you need that little, boot in the butt, to get going again. And maybe that's what Tua needs. But then again, you got to think about this. Like, Tua didn't have an OTC. He didn't have those training camps. He didn't have that type of stuff. And that's
I agree.
Yeah.
I love Tua. I'm not normally an Alabama quarterback person.
Trust me, we're going to talk more about that later because my little special segment I have for you that's going to quiz you a little bit, we are going to be going way into depth about Tua Tagovailoa.
Okay, that's fine. I got Ryan Fitzpatrick going to New England.
That's interesting.
He played for every other NFC East team, or an AFC East team.
Yeah.
But, you think about it, they could bring in somebody and he could be basically they trade up in the draft to bring somebody in, and he pulls a 2.0 here, and he coaches him up. And basically, it's an extra quarterback's coach that can fill that bridge if your quarterback's not ready yet.
Yeah, because I couldn't see the Patriots spending a 4-year contract on somebody. And that's interesting you say that, because honestly, I really think that Mitchell Trubisky could go to the Patriots. Now hearing you say that, I don't think it's entirely crazy to think about Mitch Trubisky going to the Patriots.
No, he was one of the teams I had thought about.
Yeah.
Cam Newton, I've been having him go ever since I knew he wasn't staying in New England. I always had him going back to Washington, go play for the football team.
Yeah.
Like, he still has it. They have weapons. I have them getting more weapons. A little heads up here. Like, I have them getting more weapons. Cam didn't look terrible. He didn't look like, 2015 Cam, but he looked like Cam Newton still. He still threw the ball with high velocity. The accuracy wasn't there, really, but it's better than who you're going to bring in. And where they pick in the draft, I don't think they can physically trade up to get a quarterback.
No, I don't think so either. I think maybe they'll get lucky to address an issue. I think Bill Belichick does what he does best and gets a tight end. I think that's very possible of him getting a tight end that will help them.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't have Cam going. I have Cam going to Washington, not New England.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, from a standpoint, like, when
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
And then I think we all can agree, Jameis is staying in New Orleans. Like,
I think so. He'd be crazy not to.
I think Sean Payton pulled a Sean Payton, Andy Reid. These great coaches had plays by starting Taysom instead of Jameis because he didn't want to pull a Teddy Bridgewater here, where look how good this guy is, and then he goes off and leaves for big money.
Yeah.
But I think that's why they started Taysom, to be completely honest.
That makes a lot of sense to me. Listen, and I think if you think for a second, Drew Brees isn't in Jameis's ear, and Jameis is talking to, Brees, and that's not going on because Brees hasn't officially retired yet, and I could see Brees coming back if they were like, listen, dude, can you stick it out one more year so we can get ourselves in a place financially where we can get your replacement. And, I think Brees loves New Orleans so much. I think that's a very good possibility that he's like, you know what, put me on a 1-year veteran minimum, and, we'll see. Because obviously Drew Brees with a torn rotator cuff and I think it was fasciitis in the foot and broken wrist. I mean, he still played really well. Everybody was knocking him, why don't they throw deep? I mean, the dude battled through basically hell and still played at a very average to above average level.
Yeah, no, I think I'm not really Drew Brees leaving out, but
yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if he hung him up.
Mm-hmm.
I would be sad as a football fan.
Yeah, I would be too.
It's one of those things. I got a surprising name that a lot of people I don't think are talking about, and it's Josh Rosen. I have him going to New England as well.
That makes
that put Barn under. Yes, he was traded to Miami, but he never really got his chance in Miami or Arizona. I think he needs to go somewhere that's willing to give him a chance. And this way, it's hey, we have 2 quarterbacks here. We got Ryan if we want, and then we got our future if we want, and Josh Rosen if we like what we see.
Yeah, they got
that could save their team's cap for years. Because if you can get signed Josh to a long-term deal, say a 4 or 5 year deal, and he pans out, say you get him for $3, $4, $5 million a year, that's not terrible.
No.
But if he doesn't really pan out, he's still a serviceable backup quarterback.
Yeah, and
you're saying a little expensive, but he's only 24. He'll be 24 going into this offseason.
Yeah,
he's the same age as he's the same age as Kyler, I think.
Yeah, and Lamar. I think him and Lamar.
So yeah, well they were taken in the same draft.
Yeah, and I want to say he's younger than Baker Mayfield, who I think he was taken in the same draft as. So it's not.
Yeah, they were in the same class.
It's not crazy. And if you get a Josh Rosen that's motivated to work, I think it would make sense for him. He needs to go somewhere where there's a quarterback issue, and the Patriots make a lot of sense. Yeah. So I 100% agree with you there. Can keep moving on, keep trucking along here.
That was between him and San Francisco, but I don't know about San Fran.
That's. I think they should stick with Jimmy G. That's my. We'll get in that.
Yeah,
later.
I mean they're kind of almost contractually obligated to stick with Jimmy G.
Yeah.
For running backs, I got Kenyon Drake staying in Arizona. He didn't do bad this year. He was banged up a little bit. He looked good.
He helped that offense.
I don't think he's going to demand. I don't think he's going to demand that much money. And you can't get a top. I put him top 20 running back in the NFL.
Yeah.
Maybe at like 20 exact, but
I think he had a good year.
Still a very serviceable quarterback.
No, I think he had a very good year.
Wait, I forgot to do something. Hang on, I already know where he's going. So I have Leonard Fournette going to Atlanta.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because I don't have Todd Gurley staying.
No.
You look at their head coach. He worked with Derrick Henry in Tennessee.
Yeah.
So he's going to want to bring him back similar to that. Only difference is between Leonard Fournette and Derrick Henry. Leonard Fournette can catch the ball.
Yeah.
So he's got himself a 3-down back. And I like the scheme fit there. He's not, he might not demand as much. He's going to be what they wanted out of Todd Gurley this year.
Yeah, and there's going to be that question with
1,000-yard rusher. If not, he's going to be close around that 900-yard mark with 500-yard catch receiving or so.
Yeah, and I think that's the entire question with the Bucs team. I think we're going to talk about this in multiple more instances, but that's going to be the question. Is it time to cash out? You got your ring. What do you want to do? Do you want to run it back, or are we done? Do you want to cash out?
I don't have them having the money to afford him back.
No.
That's part of the reason.
No, I don't think he'd have to take a very minimum deal to come back.
They'll have to take a $2 million deal.
They're going to have to pick and choose. They're going to be like, listen, it's either Leonard Fournette or Antonio Brown, Gronkowski or Godwin or Levante David or Namakad Suh. Like, it's literally that's what it's going to come down to.
Yeah. Well, after that, I have Todd Gurley going to Tampa Bay. He's not going to demand much money anymore, I don't think. He didn't look terrible. He looked Le'Veon Bellish, kind of just serviceable still. He's not going to lose you yards. He's not going to lose you game. But the arthritis didn't seem to be a problem.
No, that's what shocked me.
Get a career resurgence in a split backfield.
Yeah, that's what really shocked me about the whole situation, because it didn't look like injuries were killing him, and that's why I don't get. I don't know. It just intrigues me. Like, the whole Todd Gurley situation intrigues me very much.
Todd will get a contract. It's just he's so hard to predict where he's going to go. To me,
yeah, he could go
Mike
anywhere.
Davis staying in Carolina. Like, let's be honest, Mike Davis was good when Christian was out.
Yeah,
they didn't lose games because of Mike Davis. That's pretty self-explanatory. Phillip Lindsay's a restricted free agent. I think he's going to be one of the only restricted free agents this year to leave his team. But to leave his team, they're going to have to give up a draft pick.
Yeah.
To that team. And since he was an undrafted player, we're looking, I'd say 4, 5 maybe. But I haven't gone to the Jets. They had the old man running the ball 90% of the year.
Yeah, Jets do need to address that. I think that's
Jets
very
need running
important.
Back. Adrian Peterson. They're just making the retirement home down there in Tampa Bay. He's going to want to sign with a contender. I feel like he's literally going to be LaShawn McCoy. Might get 1-2 carries this season. He's just kind of there to help. Just basically be a paid coach. Aaron Jones, I got him staying in Green Bay.
I agree with that. I think he likes Green Bay a lot. He doesn't seem like that selfish of a player.
I do think he wants to leave Green Bay because he wants more money. But I think in Green Bay was preparing for him to leave when they drafted A.J. Dillon.
Yeah, they were preparing for the idea.
I think he realizes because you look at it, how much these really good running backs leading these teams and not having success. I think he knows if he wants to have his success, he needs to stay.
Well, and you look at it seriously look at it this way. They've been to an NFC championship in 2 years. They are literally one good draft away and maybe one good signing away because that defense is really good.
Marlon Mack. I love Marlon Mack. He was great in Indianapolis. So he got hurt this year, but led the way for, JTT, who's, I feel like, is still a way better running back in every facet of the game. I have him going to Miami. Miami has a hole at running back.
Yeah.
They were starting Patrick Laird and stuff all year because of Matt Breida's opt-out. And then injuries and opt-out. Like, that to me makes, like, perfect sense almost.
Yeah, they need
cheap running back, a young cheap running back on
they need somebody there. That is obvious.
Yeah. Although speaking of Matt Breida, I have him going to San Francisco going back to San Fran.
I could see.
I have him releasing Tevin Coleman. Tevin Coleman, yes, he was great a couple years there in Atlanta. He hasn't looked good, and Raheem Mostert's health is so up and down. So they literally bring in a Raheem back, basically Raheem 2.0 again in Matt Breida.
Yeah.
And they basically cash out for getting the pick they got for him. Like, I just think he knows that he needs to go to a run-heavy scheme. Frank Gore, he'll sign somewhere. I just don't know. I didn't know where to put him. So I give him to Pittsburgh. I could see them easily grabbing a running back here in the draft, i.e. a Najee Harris or Travis Etienne, or maybe even a Chuba Hubbard, who nobody's talking about.
Yeah.
He's just going to basically be a AP-esque runner. I mean, he might get more carries than AP does this year. But, and then James Conner, I have going to Seattle.
That one's interesting.
For to be a backup to Chris Carson, who I have re-signing in Seattle.
Yeah. I think that makes a lot of sense.
They're the same running back. They both have health injury risk. So you keep one, you keep both of them on the roster. You don't miss a step on offense.
And I think they're great. They contrast really nicely. Connor's really good at kind of Le'Veon Bell style of running. I think Chris Carson's more of a downhill power back. So I think they contrast each other very nicely and would make a lot of sense for Seattle.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. I do have Le'Veon Bell going somewhere. Yeah, I don't think he played terrible in Kansas City. He didn't seem to have the speed, like his game-breaking speed anymore, but he still looked good. He still showed that he can find holes, find lanes.
Yeah.
But I have him going to Houston. They can get him cheap. Their cap room situation is weird.
I think
Houston's an easy choice there.
I think it would give him a great opportunity to come back and, develop himself. Obviously have a great chance to develop himself, get to play with Deshaun Watson, and he would really be he would start turning into the star of that offense. And I think that's very important.
That's all I have for running backs, really. They're kind of, decent.
Yeah, there's not a lot of them. I mean,
the number one receiver, what?
There's not a lot of running backs. I mean, there is, but there's not like big names.
Big name running backs like Darrell Williams. I don't think he's leaving.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of running backs that you can make cases for, and I'm just not. There's so many. Same with wide receivers. I just did bigger name receivers. I think the first receiver that showed up on my board was Fitzgerald. I don't think he retires after this J.J. Watt signing. It sounds crazy to say, and when I say it, I just want to hit myself in the head with a hammer. I don't think this is retiring. I think he stays in Arizona for at least a year.
I mean he's in great shape. He's still catching balls.
Yeah, no, he's not playing bad. It's just, the man's like 38. Come on, man. Like, I get you want a ring, and I get you want to be loyal to your team, but they haven't done anything for you. Rather, A, cut your losses and leave, or B,
well, it could very much be ending up into like a Jason Witten type scenario with the Cowboys when he came back out of retirement. And I just don't think Larry's ready to hang it up just yet. So
no, he doesn't look like he's ready to hang him up, but I think a position change would benefit him. I think if he moved out of the slot and go inside to play tight end, he's got the height. He runs speed like a faster tight end.
See, now you're just
blocker.
I know, but now you're just pulling some Madden in real life. So
No, I know, but he honestly, in today's NFL, if he were to come out and have a little more weight to him, I could easily see him being a tight end in today's NFL. He's like a Kyle Pitts-esque player. Decent at run blocking, and he's just mainly a receiving threat. I have Dez staying in Baltimore. Like, not terrible. I don't think Dez is Dez anymore. He didn't show his speed and elite athleticism, but he showed his hands. They just kind of need depth at receiver there, and that's kind of why I gave him. Willie Snead leaves Baltimore, goes to the Jets, gives their rookie quarterback, or Sam Darnold, to throw to. He's not a terrible receiver. He's not great. Curtis Samuel, I think, isn't going to be as valued as everybody thinks he's going to be. I think he's going to be viewed as a gadget player because he played running back a little bit this year. But, man, he's a great receiver, and I have him staying in Carolina for whoever their quarterback may be.
I think that he's going to be undervalued. Like it's what you said. I think he's undervalued. I think he's underrated.
In Carolina, I think he's going to want more money from somebody, and nobody's willing to give it. And Carolina gives him one of the best deals.
They got great wide receiver depth. Even if they lose him, they'll be fine. I think they keep him though. I think they have enough cap room too. I think Matt Rule likes him, so it makes a lot of sense for him to stay.
Yeah, makes sense. Allen. Oh, did I mention I have Dak staying in Dallas? I just skipped it by accident.
Yeah, I think that one. I think really that one's implied. Like a lot of people are like Dak's not going anywhere. Yeah,
I think that was a given.
Yeah.
I was gonna say him for last, and he was third on my board. I just kind of forgot to mention him. I'm gonna maybe bring that up as this receiver right here.
Yeah.
Allen Robinson. This is gonna be probably the second most prized free agent this season, I think.
Yeah.
Man has put up 1,000 yards with terrible quarterback play. And I got him going to one of the highest cap space teams in the NFL, and that's Washington. Next is Terry McLaurin. And, Cam's got himself some targets now.
Yeah.
I think that makes almost perfect. They need a second receiver. Steven Sims isn't terrible, but I think he's more of a fourth option in their offense. And he just brings in that big body receiver you're looking for. Unlike Terry McLaurin, where you have a every down receiver you can throw to.
Speedster type set.
And a speedster. He's a better speedster than DK. Put it that way. AJ, he's not even the best receiver from that class. But I have AJ Green. And this is a weird thing, but I have him going to New England.
That makes a lot of sense.
I think Bill thinks he can possibly get the prime back out of him. I think AJ was healthy this year. I think AJ tried to hurt his stock so he could go to a contender and vie for a second option, third option player with a number 2 receiver somewhere. And New England's that team.
Oh, yeah.
And if it doesn't work out, New England, I think he's going to be on a 1-year deal with New England. He's in that questionable area, but I have him on a 1-year New England. Like,
that's just where New England's at in general.
Not going to get burnt from having him.
They're at that point where they're just deciding.
Bryant has, elite hands, not elite separation as much anymore, but that ability to just go up and get it still.
Yeah.
And whoever their quarterback may be, would be nice there. Tim Patrick, who I didn't think I was going to predict, honestly, until he had this year. I got him going to Seattle. I think they're going to look for a third option in their offense.
Yeah.
Like, DK's good. DK's a top 15, top 6, top 20 receiver in the NFL. Tyler Lockett's a top 20 receiver in the NFL. You give Russ a option to check down to. Like, that's like pudding right there.
Yeah, they want to bolster. They want to go ahead and bolster that offense even more than what it is. They've obviously made it clear the offense isn't where it wants to be. They fired their offensive coordinator Brian Schottenheimer, and I agree with that. I could definitely 100% see that.
Okay, Kenny Galladay, I think the other best receiver in this free agent class. I have Allen Robinson and Kenny Galladay over Chris Godwin. I think they're both better receivers than Chris Godwin.
Yeah, I think Godwin had a down year this year. I think he had a great break.
I think Godwin has the most potential still, but these
Yeah.
guys still have the highest ceiling and highest floor. Like they have the highest floor and they're safer picks. Kenny Galladay, I have going to Indianapolis.
That's interesting.
They got Michael Pittman. They have Paris Campbell, who hasn't said he's been able to stay healthy. But they add an elite receiver like Kenny Galladay. Compare along those 2-3 young receivers they have there.
And they have a quarterback that's been proven to play at an MVP level.
Exactly. That they need to prove that Carson Wentz was a good quarterback, and it's not his fault his receivers sucked.
that might be a little bit of an understatement.
What?
The wide receivers of the Eagles sucked. That's a little bit of an understatement.
Speaking of wide receivers to the Eagles, I have Marvin Jones going to Philly.
Yeah, I
can also see going.
I
I
like
can
that.
also see Marvin Jones go to New England. Like that. But for now, I think he's a Philly receiver. Somebody that he's a productive receiver, stays healthy, which is something the Eagles need. I think he's an Ashlon Jeffrey type player at this point in his career to have better wheels.
Yeah.
Willie, what's the name of the receiver? Will Fuller got that 1-game suspension. I think his stock's going to fall a little bit. People are not stock. His value's going to fall a little bit because of the PEDs, and he hasn't really only had one healthy season, and that was this year.
Yeah.
I got him going to New England as well. They got the cap space. Their number one need.
That's where I'm going to defer on you just a little bit.
I didn't like it, but it was between them and Green Bay. Green Bay grabbing another receiver for win now mode.
Well, that I could see if you want to go a different direction there. I think he fits Green Bay a little bit more. They really wanted him. It's not like they didn't want to have him.
No.
They just didn't feel like giving up that much.
The reason I didn't give him to Green Bay is because they re-signed Aaron Jones. I don't know if they have the cap room to sign him.
Yeah, that's very
true. The only
true.
reason I didn't give him to Green Bay.
Yeah, I could see that.
It wouldn't shock me if he signed with Green Bay. But speaking of Green Bay, I gave them 2 receivers here in a second that are going to come on cheaper deals that are just as good. I got them getting T.Y. Hilton. He wants to go to a contender. He's not sure about, he's still a really productive slot receiver.
Yeah.
I also got them getting Nelson Aguilar. Had a great year for the Raiders.
Very, very underrated season by Aguilar. I mean, it was.
Yeah, I was knocking off Nelson Aguilar when he dropped all those balls in 2017. But, honestly, he's been working with it on his hands. It shows. He played good this last couple seasons.
Yeah, he did. He did great in John Gruden's scheme. Absolutely terrific.
I think and then that would leave, if T.Y. or somebody gets hurt, Devontae gets hurt, who was hurt this year. You still got, MVS and Lazard there if you want.
Yeah.
As well, I think that'll be probably one of the best receiving corps in the NFL.
I agree.
Who is this? I cannot read my handwriting. Sammy Watkins, Detroit. He's not staying in Kansas City.
No, he's not. We knew. I think every Kansas City fan knows. I think as soon as the season was over, they were kind of like, listen, Watkins didn't play enough games, didn't have enough production, got injured a little bit too much, and for what he's going to want, it isn't going to make a lot of sense. Brett Veach is an innovative GM, and he knows it.
He wants to be a number one receiver still.
Yeah, he wants.
He's not
obviously.
A number one receiver. He wants number one receiver money. Detroit has no receivers under contract right now.
Yeah.
Quentin Cephas, who, congratulations. Day Westbrook, I don't have him leaving Jacksonville.
I don't think he does either. Too good.
I got Rashad Perryman also joining Sammy Watkins in Detroit.
Yeah.
Kind of a speedy guy, helps Goff a little bit. Good at running drag routes. Juju, I don't know. Physically, he's a good receiver. He's young. I have him go. I could literally have him go. I could see him sign anywhere. It'd be perfectly okay. I don't think he signs in New England. I think people give him to New England. I think he wants to have his fun still. He still wants to play, have fun, and Bill's not going to let that happen.
I think he stays with the Steelers.
Cam was, but I have him going to Houston.
Yeah, I could see that maybe.
I think they're going to try to please Deshaun as much as possible.
That's why I see it, but I just think he loves the Steelers too much. He's developed a relationship with Chase Claypool. He loves Big Ben. They can make some moves. I think they have a couple moves they can make to fix some things. I can
see it, but he's also they have 4 really good receivers. And why pay somebody when you literally have somebody else below him that you still have for another 2-3 years on a cheaper deal?
And that's what you see. That's what happened with. Well, if you look at the season, what happened with Claypool is that the reason this has been the Steelers' story. I'm gonna try to run it as quickly as I can. When AB was there, and then Juju was a rookie, Juju got open all the time because AB was getting the double teams. Okay. Juju gets the double teams, Chase Claypool becomes open. If you just want to do it again, Chase Claypool is going to get double teamed. Deontay Johnson is going to be open.
Deontay Johnson and their Samuel, like they Deontay Washington. They have good receivers. Like one of them is going to come open. I'm okay with him staying in Pittsburgh. But I want to mock in other places.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Antonio Brown, I don't think any other team takes a chance besides Tampa.
No, there's not a. No, that's a given.
And I think AB will take that number 2 role next to Mike Evans. I don't have Chris Godwin staying.
I don't either.
This is going to sound crazy. Chris Godwin is going to Arizona.
No, that makes a lot of sense.
Him, DeAndre Hopkins, Christian Kirk, Fitz. Those they're going to give Kyler more weapons.
No, they've proven their win now mode.
DeAndre, Christian Kirk's not a terrible receiver. Don't get me wrong. I like him. They wasted their pick back in 2018 and drafted Andy Isabella over Terry McLaurin, DK Metcalf, Mecole Hardman.
Yeah, I think they're in win now mode. I think they start to look around. Like if you really look around that division, you say, okay, the Rams are good, but they're definitely beatable. The Seattle Seahawks aren't really great. They have their flaws. The 49ers, if they can get healthy, with a defense that's probably never going to be the same as the defense that they were in 2019. I think the NFC West is wide open, and it makes sense for them to be in a win-now situation.
Yeah, I think they're in win now, and I think they're going to restructure some contracts. And then I have John Ross. This kid, he was a first-rounder. He honestly played really great until he got hurt. I'm going to stick with my original pick, which I had him going to, and I have him completing a track team in Kansas City. He doesn't have to be the number 1 option. He doesn't have to be the number 2 option. He could be a gadget player like we have in Mecole Hardman and Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
I think we just complete a track team. You go out there and you throw, oh, hey, here's 3 receivers that run a sub-4.2 40. Like who's that run 4.2, 4.3 40. Try to guard a man-on-man. Because you're going to have to double team one of them. Oh, and we'll throw Travis Kelce in the mix.
Yeah, I mean, that...
I think that just makes...
Somebody's bound to get open.
But somebody's going to pay and get a good receiver. Because he's shown that this year, until he got hurt, he was good. He was number 3 in fantasy football. He was getting 200 yards a game or something like that. He was on track for over 1,900 yards, I think.
Yeah.
For the first 4 games of the season. To the O-line, tight ends, I got Tunyon staying in Green Bay.
Yeah, I agree.
He's a restricted free agent. I don't think they can't do anything with him. Hunter Henry, I got him staying with the Chargers. Keep him. A lot of the tight ends I kind of have staying in the same areas. That helps. But I only have 5 tight ends on here. Gerald Everett, I have going to New England.
Yeah, I think
great athletic tight end.
Big.
That way they can also address with that 15th pick if they want to trade up even more now. They don't have to wait and hope Kyle Pitts falls. If they want to pick Kyle Pitts, they could. If they want to trade up and get another receiver, they can. If they want to come up and get a quarterback, they can. I think that signing makes the most sense there. Gronk stays in Tampa.
Obviously.
He said he doesn't want to play for anybody besides Tom. And then Jonnu Smith. The Titans have almost a third and least amount of cap room. So I don't think the Titans are going to be able to get very many players back.
Yeah.
We've got Jonnu Smith walking and going over to Carolina as well. Carolina is one of my sleeper teams, I think.
Yeah.
Year. Carolina and Arizona. I called it at the beginning and end of last season. I said these two teams are good, and I think they're going to be better.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Offensive line, I mean, there's bigger names, I guess, if you want. We got Russell Okung. He stays in Carolina. Taylor Moton. They both stay he stays in Carolina. Alejandro Villanueva. I got him actually moving inside the guard and going to Buffalo. He's getting up there in age where he's still a good player. Good pass blocker.
Yeah.
But if they re-sign Juju, Pittsburgh's not going to have money to get him.
No.
And if they re-sign Alejandro Villanueva, Pittsburgh's not going to have enough money to get him. It's one of those, damned if you do, damned if you don't situations. Trent Williams.
This is interesting.
I have him leaving San Francisco and going to play left tackle for the Colts. Indianapolis will have the best offensive line next season.
Yeah, I think they were close to having the best offensive line this season, and
they have one of the most cap rooms too, so they can afford to pay him.
Oh yeah, they could. They definitely could.
They could literally just give him Costanzo's contract, and he would accept. Costanzo was getting paid $16 million next season.
Yeah,
they're not retired. So if they wanted to give him a 1 year, $16 million deal for Williams, or a 2 year deal or $16 million a year, they still have plenty of cap room.
Yeah.
I have Kansas City. They're gonna bring a guard back. It's gonna be Colicchio tonight. I think with nobody's gonna really want him. He was an All-Pro 2 years ago
with the Raiders.
He was a great player with the Raiders, and he was decent in Kansas City. He was actually really good in Kansas City. He just committed a penalty a game, which you can kind of live with sometimes, trying to protect Pat. But I think what's going to derail people from trying to sign him is his knee injury.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I mean, he's up there in age.
That's one of those no shit moments basically.
Now,
Forrest Lamp, who was a first-round pick 4 years ago, or second-round pick, I think, earlier round player. I got him leaving the Chargers and going to Houston. They need inside help, and they're doing everything in their power to please him. Please their Jesus, basically, which is Deshaun, that he doesn't leave.
No, they want to build him weapons. Now, real quickly,
they're trying to give him a line, but realistically, I still think Deshaun leaves.
No, I don't think he does either.
They hold all the chips, honestly.
Yeah, they do. I mean,
stupid in putting a no trade clause in his contract. I understand why he did it. He loved it at the time, but these last 2 seasons have been shit for Deshaun.
Yeah, no,
he didn't get the coach he wanted. JJ leaves. They trade DeAndre Hopkins away for a bag of chips.
No, I agree with that. Now here's
they got him Brandon Cooks in return.
Real quickly, I'm gonna offer you this before we go into defense. I think we should save the defense for another time. Not that I don't want to hear it, but
I still got more line. There's still more linemen.
I know. I'll let you finish the lineman. I just want to get it over with now.
We can save the defense. That's fine.
Yeah, let's save the defense because I think it should be its own deal. We can nail that either Wednesday or Thursday or something like that. So let's continue on with the O-line. Let's finish this up.
There's not very many O-linemen I got left. Joe Thuney going to the Chargers.
Ooh, Joe Thuney.
They don't have that much cap room, but I think they spend a little bit of money they have left on Thuney.
Yeah.
Then I don't think Alex Mack leaves Atlanta. If he does, it's going to be a retirement.
Yeah.
Corey Linsley, Washington football team. I got the cap room for him. They need O-line help.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. And then I got Brandon Scherf. He's not leaving Washington as well. Him and Corey Linsley are going to help protect Cam and help that offense. And then I have David Andrews I have him going to Miami. They got capped from 2 for days, and they need a interior guard. He can play right or left guard. I think he goes over to right.
Yeah.
Right guard.
Yeah.
And because 2 is left-handed.
Mm-hmm.
And they might, and I still think they go after a Christian Darrisaw around their later pick in the first round.
Yeah.
If they wanted to go Penei Sewell, I would be down, but I don't think they do.
Yeah.
I think they go wide receiver at 3 or trade down in the draft to 7. Somebody that wants a quarterback, and they can still probably get the lineman or receiver they want. But if they can grab a Christian Darrisaw, move him to right tackle, who is blindside protector. So Joe Thuney, then you have Robert Hunt, who's playing right tackle for them.
Yeah.
Calls more as a guard. Move him inside the guard, and then you keep their first round pick last year from UNC, Austin Jackson. I couldn't think of his name.
Yeah.
You keep him at left tackle, and Tua's got a good O-line now.
Yeah.
Has a better O-line than Russell Wilson's ever had.
And that's what he wants. That's what Russell wants.
I don't think Russ leaving is the problem.
Mm.
I think his O-line graded out at number 10, or I think 7 this year for passes. The reason he gets back so much, I believe, is his height. I hate to say it. It takes him, I'd say, an extra 2 to 3 steps to be able to get a passing lane.
Yeah.
That's why you see him in shotgun a lot. That's why he's in shotgun a lot. Well, yes, he's a great quarterback. Height still has to play a factor. If you look at somebody like Josh Allen, he can see over those linemen when he's a yard back because he's 6'5". But you get somebody that's 5'11", 5'10", same thing goes with Tyler here. That was something I've noticed. That's when everyone's like, oh, well, why would he want to go to Oakland? Because they're O-line. No, that's the reason he would like to go to, not Oakland. It's fucking Las Vegas, dude. He wants to go to Vegas because that O-line. Well, his O-line isn't bad. He is just has to take more time in the pocket to be able to see over his linemen.
Yeah.
So it's creating more time for the pass rush to get to him. And that's why he has to scramble a lot or find another open seam so he can see, because Peyton Manning was looking on his Peyton show, looking at why Russ does what he does.
Yeah.
Him and Kyler. And they were seeing receivers that were wide open in the middle, in between the hashes, that when they just snapped the ball on a slant or a post, that they physically were not able to see them. And they just checked the ball down.
I've never really thought about it like that.
But I have Kansas City. I'm just going to not talk about anything really on defense, but just letting you know.
Yeah,
a lot of edge rushers. This is a good linebacking free agency.
Mainly it's because I don't think my phone can last another whole side of the ball. Because I'm pretty sure I'm on 5% by now because I don't charge my phone when I sleep. And I like to watch YouTube. So we're going to play a little game. I think you're going to enjoy it. I seen this earlier. It's called QB or Not To QB. And yes, I stole this directly off the herd. So that's where I got it from. I'm going to list you a name of teams. You're going to say whether yes, they need to get a QB or no, they don't need to get a QB. So here we go. Jaguars. Are they going to get a new QB or should they not?
In the draft.
Oh yeah.
That's Lawrence.
I think that was obvious.
They aren't grabbing one out of free agency.
That's why I asked someone first, because it's the least controversial, I think, for anybody. The next one, the Jets.
The Jets, they're not going to pick this high, hopefully, again in a long time. They're grabbing a QB that are asked. They're moving on to Darnold.
Okay. Somebody that this team has a quarterback that grew up very close, actually maybe a really lot closer to you than me, but the Broncos.
The Broncos?
Yeah.
I don't think this season. Drew Lock didn't seem terrible.
He didn't seem terrible.
He looked decent. He didn't look great. but he also seemed better than Sam Darnold. And I don't think Denver. I think the only way the quarterback is taken in Denver this year would be if a Trey Lance or a Justin Fields falls to them at number 9.
Yeah.
If one of those two guys fall, or Zach Wilson, one of the top 4 QBs falls to them, they're going to take them.
Okay.
But I don't think they're lasting to number 9.
Next one, we got the Falcons.
Yes, 100%.
Unless
only way I can see them not taking it is if they get a decent offer from, like, say, the Panthers to move down 3 spots and they get another first rounder. So they get the 7th pick, they give up their 4th, and they get a first rounder next year and a second rounder this year.
Yeah.
That's the only way I don't see them taking a QB.
The next one, the Lions. What do you think about the Lions?
This one, let me look at my mock draft, because it's with the Jared Goff, I really think they would, but next year's quarterback class, it isn't terrible. Give me a second.
If it helps, I have them sticking with Goff.
I'm going to give them a quarterback. I have them grabbing Trey Lance at 7.
Okay.
But if they don't take one, I also will not blame them.
Yeah. The Giants. What do you think? Are we sticking with Daniel Jones, or are we moving off Daniel Jones?
He's in the same boat as Drew Lock for me. He's shown his greatness, but he's also shown his moment. Like, this is gonna be a make or break year for him.
Got 2 more for you. 49ers. What are we thinking?
I think if they can get up in the draft, then yes.
Okay.
If not, they're going to have to roll with Jimmy G. They could be a dark horse team to sign Cam Newton, but I still seriously doubt. I think if they could trade up to, like, with Atlanta to get a quarterback, then yes.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they're willing to give up what Atlanta's going to want, or a team going to want to get into that top 5 range for quarterbacks.
It's a team that's been talked about. It's been talked about so much. Young QB, the Miami Dolphins. Do they need to move off Tua?
No. like we were talking about earlier, Tua. Personally, there are certain universities I've noticed, and this is why I'm not huge on Mac Jones this year, that their quarterback hits in the NFL are very rare. Tua has shown greatness, but I still think he has some flaws.
Yeah,
that's coachable. I think Brian Flores can get that out easily. He didn't get his offseason he needed. He didn't get that preseason and stuff he needed. I think he's somebody you will see start 75% of the preseason games this year.
Oh yeah, for sure. It has to get that development in.
I could see them drafting like a Kellen Mond or somebody late in the draft, like a quarterback that has decent upside. That way, if Tua's not your guy, you possibly could roll with one of them.
Yeah.
But Tua didn't really get anything. I'm not huge on Mac Jones this year, but universities I've learned to stay, not be too hype on their quarterback. Alabama, look, AJ McCarron, third all time in SEC or something like that.
Yeah.
And look at AJ McCarron in the NFL. It just LSU is also one of those teams. Yeah, Burrow's good, but
they've had their ups and downs.
Is he really good? We don't actually know. He doesn't play the season yet. Don't get me wrong. I love Joe Burrow. I still think he's better than Herbert. Oregon's still one of those teams too. I'd stay away from.
Yeah.
Herbert's the only quarterback that's looked decent in recent years. Marcus Mariota's always looked average. Just those schools that you would think, the top tier nation schools, Ohio State is one of the number one school I would stay away drafting a quarterback from.
Yeah.
They haven't had one hit.
Unless
an Ohio State quarterback that's hit in the NFL.
Yeah.
Didn't.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying from this standpoint is I would put a lot of betting chips that Justin Fields is going to be really good, especially if they can get him to an organization with great structure and a great development process.
Fields, I hate to say it, I think Fields is going to fall. I think Fields, everybody's expecting him. I think he could fall to 9.
Oh, I think there's that chance too.
I think everybody's going to be scared.
Yeah.
To draft Fields. Because his accuracy, it could use some work, but he's still got a cannon of an arm.
Yeah.
He could be this year's Drew Lock. Mind you, I don't think he doesn't make it out of the first round. I don't think he makes that out of the top 15. But we were talking about Drew Lock possibly going 3rd overall a couple years ago. And over Dwayne Haskins and everything. Or Dwayne Haskins going number 2 overall. Number 3 overall.
Yeah.
But it ended up being Daniel Jones. And then Drew Lock for the 2nd round. So, I think he could be this year's... Okay, I gotta take this call.
Yeah, I figured. I'll let you go, buddy. Thank you for joining, right, dude. I appreciate it so much. That was my buddy Mason. He was lucky enough to join us today. He gave me something, to talk about because I didn't really have a lot to talk about myself. And with some critical thinking here for you, intrigue the mind. What are you thinking about this quarterback carousel? Around and around and around it goes, and it seems like we're starting to find some new destinations for some of these guys, but there's still so many guys left on the board that are open to new opportunities and all those type of deals. So as for that, thank you guys for stopping by and listening. My name is Garrett Sims. This has been the podcast, and I will see you guys tomorrow, Wednesday,